This week we're discussing from the chapters How I Write to Jewish Guys in Mindy Kaling's book, Is Everyone Hanging Out Without Me? Damn it, you gotta start remembering the names of the books. Now, it seems like this book has transitioned from life journey back to sporadic life events that seem less meaningful but that are still funny, kind of like it was in the beginning of the book. I wrote down that the cupcake chapter was interesting, but I kind of wanted it expanded, and I actually kind of wanted a lot of these chapters expanded. I think the cupcake one could have been a really nice jumping off point to talk about other you're not from the Bronx. Other endorsement opportunities, or to make even more connections and make it more funny, but then it just ended and I was sad and lost. The one night stand section seems slightly judgmental to me, but when I reread parts of the section, I don't think it was nearly as judgmental as it could have been, and I think that Mindy Kaling was purposely phrasing things to make it not so judgy. And I think it was kind of interesting because it seemed like she was trying to not offend people, whereas in the reading last week, it did not really seem like she cared who she offended. However, the little script that she wrote in that section between herself and who she called her sexually liberated friend was a conversation that I could totally see in a movie with Kristen Wiig playing Mindy Kaling's part. Also, the hooking up chapter after that, I have to agree that the term hooking up confuses me because it does seem like it means something totally different to everyone. And I sort of related that with, I still don't really know what snogging means from the Harry Potter series, so if you are British or you happen to know what snogging means, please feel free to enlighten me in the comment section. Also, going back to what I said about liking that scripty part, I find most of the written out scripty parts really interesting, and I think that says a lot to Mindy Kaling's script writing abilities, which I guess is a big part of her job, so I'm glad she's good at that. And I especially like the part where she was having the dialogue with Pete about whether or not she was making an Irish exit. Although I do gotta say, I would probably not even leave a Forever 21 coat behind because I am just that cheap. Looking back at the chapter where it was the list of things that Mindy Kaling thinks every guy should do, I just didn't really like reading that chapter because I just don't like reading in general what people think a guy or a girl is supposed to do, even if it is just supposed to be a joke. And then along those same lines, I wrote down that I am not sure how I felt about the Jewish guys chapter. It was one of those times where I know it's not meant to be taken seriously, but it's also stereotyping, and it seems like some of these were cheap shots for cheap laughs. And instead of this chapter, I kind of wish we had another personal story about Mindy Kaling's life that maybe had a little bit more meaning. Reading this book has made me wonder if I am a prude or not, because there are things in it that I am definitely not brave enough at this point in my life to write about, or I don't know if I would ever feel comfortable writing about them. And I think part of it is that I spend a good deal of my time trying really hard not to offend people, except when I get on Twitter occasionally and I say a lot of things that are meant to intentionally offend some people, which is not a very good thing anyway. So I thought I would ask you guys what you thought of that section and what you think about touchier things being written about in comedy, and where exactly do you draw that line where it becomes offensive or just humor. So for next week, read the chapter from Men and Boys all the way to the end of the book, and we will be discussing the rest of this book. This week, you can continue letting me know your favorite and least favorite parts of these sections, and you can let me know your thoughts on them. And again, let me know if you know what snogging means, and also, you can let me know your personal definition of hooking up. And then I'd love to know what you thought of the Jewish guys section and the appropriateness of these sorts of things being integrated into humor, and I guess that also sort of extends from the discussion last week as well. And I will be reading and replying and screen capping for the final review video, so read up, and I will see you guys Wednesday.